When I was in 7th grade, I did one of the dumbest things I've ever done in my entire life. I know it was one of the dumbest things I've ever done in my entire life because an adult told me that. I was on my school bus headed to school one morning when this happened. I had some leftover firecrackers from the 4th of July, and I decided that it would be fun to throw one of them out the window of the school bus as we passed by another school bus stop. I sat in the very back of the bus, and as we approached the corner where the students that attended a different school were waiting for their bus, I opened the window just a little bit. I lit the firecracker and I threw it out the window. To my horror, it hit the small rail that runs along the outside of the window, the one that keeps water from dripping in when it rains, and it bounced back into the bus. I and everyone else around me scattered, and the firecracker exploded. As the smoke cleared, our shocked bus driver yelled, "What was it and who has it?" I sheepishly raised my hand and he ordered me to the front of the bus. I had a long bus ride to school. It was nearly an hour long, and this happened at the beginning of the ride. So I sat behind the bus driver for more than 45 minutes, wondering what was going to happen to me. I assumed that at the very least I would be suspended, but feared that I would be permanently expelled from school. After we got to school and everyone else exited the bus, my bus driver turned around, looked at me, and said, "That was the stupidest thing I have ever seen anybody do." Our bus driver, his name was Skip, was a kind of rough around the edges guy who seemed like he had probably seen and done some pretty dumb things in his life. So to have him tell me that this was one of the things that topped the list was significant. He asked me if I had any more, and I held out my hand. I handed him the few remaining firecrackers. I asked him what was going to happen to me, and his response was even more shocking than when the firecracker exploded. He said to me, "I hope you've learned your lesson. I don't think any further action is necessary." And he pointed to the bus door. As I mentioned, Skip seemed like a person who had been in trouble a time or two, and I can only assume that someone had shown him mercy, and he wanted to pass it on. I don't know that any further punishment would have taught me much more of a lesson than that. And I can assure you that I was a model student on that bus from that point forward. And Jesus said, "Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy." Now, I must admit, I don't always act like the recipient of mercy because I don't always show mercy. But I'm asking God to help me with that. How about you? How are you doing in that area?